Welcome back to Business Incorporated on Channels Television. We head to the markets now with Aniti Editor. Aniti, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Nini. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, the markets have resumed. Nigerian stock market as well as the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. They've all resumed. And take a look at the board there.
They're retaining the 102,000.
Exactly. We've retained that. I won't call it a magic number because at some point we'd gotten into 106. And we have just about 2 days left in 2024. And two trading days, yes, to be precise. So, but so far the market is 36.12%. Okay, so let's talk broadly about the stock markets around the African continent. Always where we start from the Nigeria stock market, 102,336.39. That's the number for the last track about 1 hour ago, and it's still in the green. The Greens have it. It has maintained that rally which has started all the way from last week, Friday, and then continuing into the previous two trading sessions before the Christmas break, and now resuming from Christmas break into the green territory and still holding on as we speak. The banks have it, the telco giants, the two telco giants, MTN Nigeria as well as Airtel, they're doing the magic there. And of course the market is moving before the closing bell at 2:30 local time. For the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, 0.41% intraday loss, 84,586.75 for that market index. And for the other two markets on the African continent, we see broadly red pictures there. EGX 30, it has lost that. I mentioned yesterday that it was hanging by a string of that 30,000, so it's 29,957.97 at intraday, down 0.16% at intraday. While the Nairobi Stock Exchange, this is still as at the last trading, which was on Christmas Eve. And the market will be opening later today, but the number which it closed at that Tuesday was 121.77 index points for the Nairobi Stock Exchange All-Share Index. Okay, so now this is a market we hardly mention, particularly on Business Incorporated, but we'll be talking about the unlisted, on what we call the over-the-counter securities market. That's on the NASD OTC exchange, which is almost similar to what you have on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. At some point, we saw that a company which we've always been mentioning, Aradel Holdings, which is recently listed not too long ago on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, was previously on the NASD. But let's talk more about the NASD OTC's market, and we have the managing director and chief executive of that exchange, Mr. Longe Ewakide, to tell us more about what all the activities within the market as well as what to expect in 2025. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Longe.
Of the season.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's talk more about all the volume as well as the value on the NASD OTC in 2024. How does this compare if you want to do that evaluation? How does this compare with the previous year?
So we've had a phenomenal year at NASD. You spoke about Aradel PLC. We have started to see Aradel go, but I think that we've had a very good partnership with Aradel. Aradel was with us for 13 years. And they went through price discovery, volume creation. So this year was phenomenal. So we've done 103 billion this year compared to 38 billion for the whole of last year. So you see that there's been a phenomenal growth of over 126% from last year. Volume, because of the fact that much of what we've done has been higher priced, is lower by about 38%. And then number of transactions, which is also important, is over 127%, 8,500 to 3,700 transactions for the whole of last year.
Okay, so now we've talked about the transactions, but let's also talk about the number of listings and delistings. What were the number of listings and delistings so far for this year?
We've had 3 listings, 3 new listings. We're on the verge of having a 4th one, but I think we'll cross over to next year, which is a very exciting offer. I won't bell the cat yet, so let's see what happens in January. Of course, we've traded Aradel to the other exchange, and there's also Fan Milk that decided to go private last week. So those are the 2 delistings we've had. We've had 3 listings, Capital Hotels, Okitipupa oil, and impressive baccalaureate.
Okay, so now looking into 2025, what are the growth prospects that investors should be looking out for, and what will be driving investors into the NASD OTC markets?
I guess it is all value, value, value. You know, I mean, I think there's a very interesting part of this program where a lady was speaking about her progress in the creative industry. These are some of the areas that we really need to focus upon, and that's one of the areas we're going to curate intentionally in 2025, the SME market and then the creative and entertainment area. There's also the unusual area of solid minerals. And we know we've spoken a lot on your shows of tokenization. We are going to explore that avenue to see how we develop the solid minerals industry. But in partnership with the Solid Minerals Development Fund in that direction, and we'll see a lot of exciting things happen in that period. And then we're going to deal with, I would say, on the infrastructure side, we're seeing some companies that actually are prominent in that area work with us to see how we begin to integrate the Nigerian capital market more with the real economy and see how we are able to drive expansion in. That will bring a lot of new investors, you know, and I know that investors are simply looking for next year.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time, Mr. Wakide Longe, the Managing Director of NASD OTC Markets, Securities Market Exchange, for your view on our show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move over to the Middle East. It's varied movements at intraday. Well, this is the only market that is open within the Middle East for intraday trading session. And you can see mixed movement here, varied. Dubai index was up 0.26% at the last track, while the Abu Dhabi index was down 0.17%. For the other two markets within the region, we see Saudi Arabia in the green, but just by a flattish movement there for the close of Thursday's trading session, while the Qatari Stock Exchange was down 0.50% for the close of Thursday's trading session, 10,413.41 for that market index, and that's it for that market. Okay, so from the Middle East, as usual, our jet flies to the United States, where the stock futures, well, yesterday there was trading on the New York Stock Exchange, and then we also see that the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, as well as the NASDAQ, the stock futures, which was for early Friday before the opening bell, which will be at about 3:30 Nigerian time. They're pointing to a red opening there. But so far, the three major market indexes are in the green week to date, and this is after posting strong back-to-back gains at the start of the holiday shortened week. So that's it for that market. But for more details about how Thursday's trading session on Wall Street, how it ended, let's bring in our Washington correspondent, Maria Bird.
Not continue Santa Claus's windfalls from Christmas Eve, as the day after Christmas saw a bit more trouble with two of the major indices, as the Dow Jones was slightly up at 0.07%, but the S&P 500 was down at 0.04%, and the heavy tech NASDAQ was also down at 0.05%. Many investors are a bit concerned this could be a challenge for the close of 2024, as it's projected that we might not see major wins for the U.S. stock market over the next few days before the end of the year. But investors are still watching to see what will happen with some of the economic trends until the closeout of 2024.
That was our Washington correspondent, Maria Bird, giving us details about trading on the U.S. stock market for the close of Thursday's trading session. Finally, let's go to Asia, where we see mostly negative there, but kind of mixed, because we see that first, the Nikkei has crossed back into the 40,000 level. Let's just hope that it holds this level into the close of into the close of 2024, because it reached that level after about almost 30 years. So it was up by 1.80%, and this is coming after the countries reported a kind of a drop. The inflation number actually rose to 3% in November, up from 2.6% in October. At the same time, we also see that in South Korea, where we see that political turmoil is still continuing there, because barely 2 weeks after the impeachment of the former president, that was Yoon Suk Yeol was impeached, there's another impeachment which is on the acting president, Han Duck-soo. That's the second head of state in the current month, which is who has been impeached after that short-lived martial law in that country. So that impact has been riveting on the country's currency as well as the country's market index. For the Hang Seng index, is also 0.4%. They are tracking, actually the markets were actually tracking the Japanese market, but so far they've not been able to be in the red, in the green for the close of Friday's trading session. But for Shanghai, we see it up by 0.6%, and this is because the industrial output, it was up, it dropped by about 7.3%, while the Nifty 50 is in the green, 0.27% for the close of Friday's trading session. The markets have been in a kind of a mixed close in the holiday shortened move.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty going on there, because I think the festivities is what's topmost on the mind of investors at this
Santa Claus rally, they actually expected, but that should be sometime next week.
We'll see that. Thank you so much, Anita.